My dad, Mr. D. House, was not the ringleader, never mind what some has said, but because no other man stepped forward, it was D. House who done the talking. I and my next two brothers, Dan Jr. and Lloyd House, was in the crowd. I don't rightly recollect no other names. Mr. D. House reminded Watson that a head was promised and a hat weren't good enough. He said the men would have to go down there look for the body, and he notified Watson that until Cox was found or the sheriff showed up, it might be best to hand over his weapons. An argument sprung up over that. Then Watson swung his shotgun up to shoot D. House and would have done it, only them wet shells misfired. The men opened up on him all in a roar. The bullets spun him all the way around, and some of 'em claimed they seen the buckshot roll right out them double barrels as he fell. Watson's neighbors that had straggled in from the Lost Man's River country after the hurricane, them men stayed out of it. They stayed back up there by the store and watched. There wasn't a one of them raised a hand to stop it. Them fellers from Lost Man's never raised no sand about their friend Ed Watson till after he was dead, which was kind of late to start a argument. Some has been trying to point fingers, claiming us Chokoloskee men was laying for Watson, fixing to shoot him down no matter what. Or some has give hints that so-and-so panicked and fired the first shot, and that this man was the only one responsible. I don't rightly know who fired first, and they don't neither. I will only say that Mr. Watson was not lynched nor murdered. We took his life in self-defense, and the whole bunch was in on it from start to finish. Ain't none of us was proud about what happened. We was shocked to see our neighbor laying there, face down in his mortal blood, with his young wife and little children not 50 yards away in the Smallwood store. Nobody having much to say, we went on home. Next morning, we took the body out to Rabbit Key and buried it. By the time we got back to Chokoloskee, Sheriff Tippins had showed up looking for Watson and was waiting on us there at Smallwood's Landing. We was took in custody and brought north here to Fort Myers to give testimony. Transcribed and attested, X. William W. House, his mark. Witness, signed, E. Watson, Deputy Court Clerk, Lee County Courthouse, Fort Myers, Florida, October 27th, 1910. The Bill House deposition had arrived in the mail unaccompanied by note or return address. The postmark was Ochopee, Florida, in response to Lucius Watson's ad in the Fort Myers News Press and also in the Lake City Advertiser in Columbia County, where his Collins cousins were still living. Historian seeks reliable information for a biography of the late sugarcane planter E.J. Watson, 1855 to 1910. What had startled Lucius most about the deposition was his brother Eddie's signature as the deputy court clerk who had witnessed and transcribed Bill House's testimony. He had forgotten that. But as a researcher concerned with the substance of the document, he was preparing a biography of his late father, he had found no significant new information beyond what could be inferred between its lines. On the other hand, as he noted in his journal, doing his best to maintain an objective tone, the document was critical as the one first-hand account of E.J. Watson's death that had come to light. The Bill House testimony makes clear that the Chokoloskee men killed E.J. Watson despite the testimony of the unidentified Negro that the brutal slayings 2 weeks previously at Chatham Bend had been committed not by Watson but by his foreman Leslie Cox, a convicted murderer and fugitive from justice who had turned up a few months earlier at the Watson place. According to this deposition, his neighbors shot E.J. Watson down in self-defense. Though this claim has been made for more than a half-century by the participants, others in the community assert to the present day that at least some of those involved had planned the killing, justifying the lynching with the claim that otherwise Watson might evade justice as he had.